Good evening and welcome to this video for the 2018 Level 2 Algebra paper. So we're going to look at question 1. So question 1 is simplify fully 25 m to the power of 16. We're going to take the square root. So 2 to the power of 1/2 is the same as saying square root of 25 m to the power of 16. So in this case, the square root of 25 is just 5. And if we take the square root of m to the power of 16, that gives us m to the power of 8. Because when we multiply exponents, we actually add them. Okay, so in this case, we're just going to take 16 to divide by 2, which is 8. So this simply equals to 5m to the power of 8. And you can verify if we take the 5m to the power of 8 to the power of 2, we'll get back to 25m to the power of 16. And this is our final answer, and this is just an achieve level question. Question B, simplify fully 4 over 3a to the power of -2, leaving your answer with a positive index. So in this case, we can immediately change this into a positive index by taking the reciprocal of the fraction, or in other words, flipping the fraction. So in this case, we can say that 3a over 4 to the power of 2, and this equals to 3a over 4 times 3a over 4. 3a times 3a is 9a squared, and 4 times 4 is 16. And this is our final answer, 9a squared over 16. And this is just another achieved question here. Question C, write 4 minus b plus 8c over 3c as a fraction in the simplest form. So in this case, we need to make a common denominator between the fractions. So in this case, we have 4. We have 4, which is the same as saying 4 over 1, minus b plus 8c over 3c. As you can see that 1 and 3c, they're different denominators. Therefore, we need to make it the same denominator in order to subtract and add the fractions. So in this case, we can rewrite this as 4 over 1 minus b plus 8c over 3c. So now we can see that we can multiply 3c on the numerator and denominator for 4 over 1 to make it the same denominator. So we can say that this equals to 12c over 3c minus b plus 8c over 3c. So in this case, we see we have the same denominator, so we can now subtract the fractions. So in this case, we have 12c minus minus 8c, because this is technically minus of the entire fraction. So in this case, we have 12c minus b minus 8c over 3c, and this equals to 4c minus b over 3c. And that is our final answer for this question. So this is our final answer, which is a merit grade. To get an achieved grade, you just need to have the correct denominator. So having a common denominator will get you an achieved. So getting up to this step here will get you an achieved. Question D, factorize fully 4bx plus 2xy minus 6ab minus 3ay. So in this case, we see that x is common to 4bx plus 2xy, and we see that a is common to 6ab minus 3ay. So in this case, we see that 4bx and 2xy, the common factor is 2x, so we're going to factor that out. So we have 2x multiplied by 2b plus y. And for our right-hand side, we have negative 8b minus 3ay. The common factor is 2a. So in this case, I'm going to say minus 2a times of 2b plus y. Alright, so now, it's 3b. Sorry, it's 3a, my apologies. 3a here. Because the common factor of 6 and 3 is 3. So in this case, we have 3a plus 2b plus y. So in this case, we see that 2b plus y and 2b plus y are common on both sides. We can actually, these are like terms, so we can add the like terms. So in this case, we have 2x minus 3a multiplied by 2b plus y. And that is our final answer for this question. And that is just an achievable question here. Achieved. Question E, a rectangular box has no lid. The length of the base is 60 centimeters. Its height is 1/4 of the sum of its width and length. The total area of the base and the four sides of the box is 7,400 centimeters squared. Find the height of the box. So first, we can start by writing what the equations that the question gives us. So the question says that its height is 1/4 the sum of its width and length. So the height is equal to 1/4, which is 1 over 4, times the sum of the width and length. So width we know is w, and we know the length is 60. So 1/4 of the width plus the length. So 1/4 times w plus 60. And we know the total area of the base and four sides of the box is 7,400 centimeters, because we know this is an open box, has no lid. So we're going to write an equation for the surface area of the total base of the 5 sides. So in this case, we see that this side here that is equal to 60 times h, but we know there's an other side as well. So we have 60 times h times of 2. So there's 2 sets of 60 times h, which is 120h. So we're going to say that our area equals to 120h. So that's our front side and our back side. For our 2 sides on the left and right, we have w here, and we have w as the width and the height is h. However, we have the same area on both sides, so we need to multiply by 2. So we're going to say plus 2 times of wh, and we're going to add the bottom as well, because we have no lids, we just need to add the bottom face, and the bottom face is equal to 60 times the width, which is w. So in this case, we're going to add 60w. And we know that this is equal to 7,400 centimeters squared. So we're going to write that out here. So area equals to 7,400 centimeters squared. So therefore 7,400 equals to 120h plus 2wh plus 60w. So in this case, we know that h is equal to 1/4 of w plus 60. We can rewrite that as 1/4 of w plus 15 if we expand it out. So we have 1/4 of w plus 15. So we can substitute that h equals to 1/4 w plus 15 into our equation. So we have 7,400 equals to 120 times of 1/4 plus 15 plus 2w times of h, which is 1/4 w plus 15 plus of the 60w. So now we just need to expand. So we have 7,400, that equals to 120 times 1/4, that is equal to 30. 1/4 w, so we have 30w plus 120 times of 15. So 120 times of 15, if you plug into a calculator, you should get 1,800. And we're going to add 2w times 1/4 w, so that equals to w squared over 2. And we have 2w times of 15, which is adding on 30w, and we need to add on 60w at the end. So now we can actually combine the like terms. As you can see here, we have 30w plus 30w plus 60w, that equals to 120w. So 7,400 equals to 120w plus w squared over 2 plus 1,800. And we can actually subtract 7,400 on both sides to make the quadratic equal to 0. So 0 equals to 100, we'll write w squared over 2 first, so plus 120w, and 1,800 minus 7,400, that is negative 5,600. So now we just need to plug this into our graphics calculator. So we have our a value is equal to 1/2, b value equals to 120, c value equals to negative 5,600. Alright, and we should find that w equals to 40 or w equals to negative 280. But we know that w is strictly greater than 0 because we're talking about a real life scenario with a box. So we know w is strictly greater than 0. So therefore, w equals to negative 280 is not a solution. Therefore, w equals to 40 centimeters. However, the question asks us for the height of the box, but we have an equation for the height of the box. We know height equals to 1/4 times the width plus 60. So we can just plug in our width into this equation. So height equals to 1/4 times 40 plus 60. And we should see that height should come out to be 25 centimeters. And that is our final answer for this question. And that is an excellence level question. Okay, that is an excellence level question. If you can get if you can get h equals to 25 centimeters, you'll get an excellence. To get a merit, you'll need to form the correct quadratic. So if you can get up to here, you get a merit question. To get an achieved question, you need to have a correct expansion. So in this case, we're actually talking about this case here. If you have a correct expansion, you'll get an achieved. Okay, so question F, 3x plus y times x minus 12y minus 2x plus y times of x minus 16y can be written in the form a plus b to the power of 2. Find expressions for a and b in terms of x or y. So in these questions, I find it really much better to just expand out the brackets and then subtract any like terms and to come up with an equation. And in this case, you should get a perfect square. So in this case, you can rewrite it as something to the power of 2. And after that, we can clearly see what the a and b values are. So in this case, we're going to say that expanding. So first, we'll just write out the question again. So 3x plus y times x minus 12y minus 2x plus y times x minus 16y. So in this case, we're going to expand the left-hand side here. So 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times negative 12y is negative 36xy. And plus y times of x, so plus yx. And y times negative 12 is negative 12y squared. And if we look on the right-hand side here, we have negative 2x times of x is just 2x squared. 2x times negative 16y is negative 32xy. And y times of x is just plus xy. And we have y times of negative 16y, which is just negative 16y squared. So we're going to write out this equation. So 3x squared minus 36xy plus xy minus 12y squared. And remember, we have this negative in front, so we need to flip the signs of everything inside the bracket. So we have negative 2x squared plus 32xy minus xy and plus 16y squared. Okay, so in this case, we can just start cancelling out the like terms. So we have xy and xy that will cancel each other out. We have 3x squared minus 2x squared, so that'll give us just x squared. We have negative 36xy plus 32xy, that'll give us negative 4xy. So we have negative 4xy. And I find it easy to cross out terms after you are done with it. So if we're done with here, we're done with here. So now we have negative 12y squared plus 16y squared, and therefore we will get plus 4y squared. Alright, so for this question, so now we're up to the stage here. So as you can see here, we have y something to the power of 2 and x to the power of 2, meaning they have to be multiplied twice. So in this case, we have 4y squared, so something times something equals to 4, which is the same thing because it's something squared. So therefore, we can figure out that it has to be 2y times 2y equals to 4y squared. So for one bracket, you'll have 2y, and you'll have 2y here. And then you'll see that x squared, no coefficient, just 1, so it's x times of, so 1x times 1x equals to x squared. And you have noticed that this term in the middle here, negative 4xy, that's negative. Therefore, your middle term should add up to give you a negative term here. So this has to be negative x and negative x in order to give you positive x squared, but negative 4xy. So in this case, you'll see that this will perfectly expand out to give us back to our original equation. So 2y times 2y is 4y squared. 2y times negative x is negative 2yx, negative x times 2y is negative 2yx. Put them together, you get negative 4yx, and negative x times negative x is positive x squared. So this can be rewritten as 2y minus x to the power of 2. And now we can clearly see what our a and b values are. Okay, so our a and b values are simply a equals to 2y, and we can see that b equals to negative x. And that will be our final answer for this question, and that will be our final answer. So we will get an excellence grade if you can get the final answer. So square completed and A and B identified correctly, you will get an excellence grade. To get a merit grade, you need a correct simplification. So you probably need to get up to this step here. That will get you a merit grade. To get an achieved grade, you need to have a correct expansion. So correct expansion is simply just up to here. That will get you an achieved. Sorry, this for maths is R and achieved is U. Right, and that's question 1. So question 2, find x of log base x of 243 equals to 5. So in this case, you can just say that x to the power of 5 equals to 243. So this base here to the power of 5 equals to 243. And therefore, we can clearly see that x equals to 3. And that will be our final answer. So this will just be an achieved question. X equals to 3 found. For question B, find m if log base 3 of 4m minus 1 equals to 2. So once again, we can apply the exact same rules here. So we can say that 3 to the power of 2 equals to 4m minus 1. And therefore, 9 equals to 4m minus 1. Therefore, 10 equals to 4m. Therefore, m equals to 10 over 4, which equals to 5 over 2. And that is our final answer for this question, which is another achieved question here. Find an expression for x in terms of w if 3 to the power of 4x plus 1 over 9 to the power of x equals to 23 to the power of w over 3. So in these types of questions, it's always beneficial to make it the same base, because once you have the same base, you can actually start to take care of the powers. In this case, we actually can't do anything since we have different bases, so we can't simply do anything to the powers just of yet. But simply we know that 9 can be rewritten as 3 squared. So we know that 9 equals to 3 squared. That's something we know. So 9 equals to 3 squared. And we know that 27 equals to 3 to the power of 3. Therefore, 9 to the power of x can be rewritten as 3 to the power of 2 times of x, which equals to 3 to the power of 2x. Similarly, with 27 to the power of w over 3, that equals to 3 times of w over 3, which equals to 3 to the power of w. So now we can rewrite our equation. So we know that 3 to the power of 4x plus of 1 divided by 3 to the power of 2x equals to 3 to the power of w. Alright, so now we know that once we have the same base and we're dividing the powers, we can actually just subtract the powers. Okay, so for example, if we had 3 to the power of 2 divided by 3 to the power of 1, that equals to 3 to the power of 1. Or if we had, for example, 5 to the power of 6 divided by 5 to the power of 2, this equals to 5 to the power of 4. So we just need to subtract the exponents in this case. So looking at this, we can just say that this equals to 3 to the power of w equals to 3 to the power of 2x plus of 1. Because we have the same base, okay, we have the same base, they're both base 3, we can just simply take the exponents and they're equal to each other. 2x plus 1 equals to w. We need an expression for x in terms of w, so we need to be x equals to w something something. So we need to make x a subject. So x equals to w minus 1 over 2. And that is our final answer for this question. And this is a merit level question. You can get to the final answer. And if you get an achieved, you can express as powers of 3. Okay, so simply if you can get this one here, that will get you an achieved grade there. Question D. An equestrian jump has a parabolic arc mounted on a wall. Horses and riders jump through the arc. The arc rises 2.43 meters above the wall. The arc can be modeled by the function in the form h of x equals to kx times 3.6 minus x, where k is a constant, h meters is the height above the wall, and x meters is the horizontal distance from Q. If a rail AB can be placed above the wall and attached at each end of the arc, for one competition, the rail is placed 0.5 meters above the wall. So how long is rail AB? Okay. So we know that the arc rises 2.3 meters above the wall. So that's that can be rewritten as our maximum height. So max height equals to 2.43 meters. And we know that h of x equals to k times of x times 3.6 minus x. Alright, so in this case, we know that the maximum height of the parabola is 2.43 meters. So the first thing we have to do here is we actually have to, they'll usually have this type of question every year, and the first thing you have to do is find the k value. It might not necessarily be a k, it could be an a, it could be a b, but you need to find the value of the constant. And you can only do that by actually finding, by substituting a specific point on the parabola, and finding the height, because we know that the arc rises 2.3 meters above the wall, and we know that's a point on the parabola. We can use that to find our k value. So we know that at our max height, the parabola is symmetrical, so that will happen at exactly the halfway mark. That will be where our maximum height, so this height here will be 2.43 meters. Okay, and we know that 3.6 must be the length, or must be the total length from the total length of the parabola. And that's because if we substitute 3.6 into our equation, so that's 3.6 meters from Q, we'll get the height equals to 0. And if we're 0 meters from Q, that will be x equals to 0, and that will also give us a height of 0. So therefore, we know that the distance of the parabola is actually 3.6 meters. Therefore, the halfway point will occur when x equals to 1.8. So we'll substitute those points in. So 1.8, 2.43. That's the point we're going to be substituting in. So height equals to 2.43. That equals to k times of 1.8 times of negative 1.8. Oh, sorry, positive 1.8. Sorry, I apologize. Positive 1.8. Alright, so in this case, our k value equals to 2.43 divided by 1.8 to the power of 2. So 2.43. Alright, it's a pretty good number. So it's k equals to 0.75. So now it's a good time to just rewrite your equation real quick so you can understand what's going on. So 0.75x times 3.6 minus x. So now we need to find what are the x values, so how far from Q will the height be 0.5 meters, and we take those two intercepts and we take the distance between those two intercepts to get the length of our rail. First thing we have to do, we have to find the height. Okay, so when the we know the height is 0.5 meters, so we need to find the x value when this height occurs. So we need to substitute that y equals to 0.5 meters. So in this case, h of x, okay, it's not y, sorry, it's h of x equals to 0.5 meters. We'll substitute that one in. So 0.5 equals to 0.75 x times 3.6 minus x. So we're going to have to expand this one out. So 0.5 equals to 0.75 x times 3.6. So 3.6 times 5. That will give us 2.7 x minus 0.75 x squared. So now we need to subtract 0.5 from both sides to make it the equation equal to 0. So that's 2.7x minus 0.75 x squared minus 0.5. And now we just need to substitute this into our graphics calculator. So our A value is negative 3 over 4. B value is 2.7. C value is negative 0.5. And we should get the values. So x equals to 3.404 meters. X equals to 0.196 meters. Alright, so now we need to take a little bit of a visual. So we know that this x-intercept here, that must be 0.196 meters. We know this x-intercept here, that has to be 3.404 meters. Therefore, the distance between these two intercepts will give us the length of our rail. So therefore, length equals to 3.404 minus 0.196. And that should give us a final answer of 3.208 meters. That's our final answer of this question. And that will get you an excellent grade if you can get up to our final answer. To get a merit question, you're looking at forming a correct quadratic. So forming a correct quadratic, that is up to here, you'll get a merit grade. It's R. To get an achieved grade, you're looking at finding the correct K value. So finding the correct K value here, that will get you an achieved. Alright, okay. So now we have question E. Interest is compounded on a principal investment $P at the end of the year. If the total amount of the investment after n years is $A, then A equals to P times of 1 plus R over 100 to the power of n, where R% is the compound interest per year. So Anushka invests $20,000 at an interest rate of 3.85%. So they've given us the formula, A equals to P times 1.0385 to the power of n. So how many years will it take for investment to be worth $25,000? Alright, so in this case, they've given us the equation, so that's A equals to P times of 1.0385 to the power of n. So Anushka invests $20,000, so the starting rate is $20,000. So when n equals to 0, so when the time is 0, she has $20,000. We can use this to find out P value. So we know that $20,000, that's equal to when n equals to 0, so P times 1.0385 to the power of 0. Anything to the power of 0 is just 1, so therefore P equals to 20,000. Alright, so now to find out the n value, we can substitute that A equals to 25,000 and then find the n value. So 25,000 equals to 20,000 times 1.0385 to the power of n. So we divide by 20,000 on both sides. We'll get 1.25 equals to 1.0385 to the power of n. And we can take the log of both sides. So we can take the log of the left-hand side, that's log of 1.25. And that equals to the log of the right-hand side, which is just taking the power down and then log of the base. So n log of 1.0385. And now we can rearrange so that n is the subject. So n equals to log of 1.25 divided by log of 1.0385. Alright, so log of 1.25 divided by log of 1.0345. Oh, sorry, 85. Apologize. That's 85. Okay, and that should give us the n equals to 5.91. So therefore, it will take 5.91 years in order to reach the investment. However, this is the interest rate per year. Well, assuming that it says that the bank will add this money at the end of each year. So therefore, this rounds up to 6 years. So on the 6th year, 6 year, she will have, so Anushka will have $25,000. And that is our final answer to this question. If you can get up to this final statement, you get a merit grade. To get an achieved grade, you need to have the log of both sides as n as a factor. So in this case, you have to make n that's actually pretty tough to get an achieved for this question. So making n the subject here, that will get you an achieved. Alright, so here, question II. So Samisi invests his money at a different interest rate than Anushka's investment. His investment will double in value after 12 years. What's the interest rate for Samisi's investment? Okay, so we know that for these formulas, it's always in the form of A equals to P times of some interest rate, we'll call R to the power of N. So in this case, we know that his investment will double in value after 12 years, okay? So therefore, when N equals to 12, A equals to 2P. We know that it's because P is the original money that Samisi has invested. So P equals to original money he has invested. So original money he invested. This could be any amount. This could be $1. This could be $15. This could be $1 million. It could be any amount. It's just the original money that Samisi decided to invest. We know that this amount of money will double in a period of 12 years. So whatever amount this is, so that P, which is whatever amount, it will double, it will become 2P after 12 years. So therefore, we can actually just substitute our variables into our equation. So A equals to 2P, P is still equal to P, and N equals to 12. So in this case, we say 2P equals to P times of R, we don't know, that's the interest rate, to the power of 12. So in this case, we divide both sides by P, we'll get 2 equals to R to the power of 12. So we just need to take the 2 to the power of 1 over 12 equals to R. So you can just write 2 to the power of 1 over 12. And that interest rate is equal to 1.0595. Doesn't want it in a percentage. If they want it in a percentage, you can simply multiply by 100. Well, not necessarily by 100, but you can actually see that the interest rate is actually just 5.95%. So you're adding on 5.95% every year. It's because if the R value is 1, that means the money isn't changing throughout the year. It's just the same. If the R value is below 1, the money he has is decreasing. And if the interest rate is more than 1, then the amount of money he has is increasing. So in this case, we can actually say that the interest rate is just 5.95%. So Samisi has an interest rate of 5.95%. And that's a good concluding statement to finish off your questions. Remember, always a good idea to have a concluding statement. And that will be our final answer. And that will get you an excellence grade. To get a merit grade, you need to find the value of... So actually, to get an excellence grade, you need to have this concluding statement. So getting an excellence means you have to have the concluding statement. To get a merit grade, you get correct R value. That'll get you a merit. To get an achieved, you need to have this correct, set up the equation correctly. So if you can set up the equation correctly up to here, you'll get an achieved. Alright, so that's question 2. Question 3 now. Solve each of the following equations for x. We have 12x squared minus 5x equals to 2. For these questions, usually you can just plug into a graphics calculator and they don't really mark you down for it. But if you choose, you can still choose to factorize if you do wish to do that. So you have 12x squared minus 5x minus 2 equals to 0. So the factors of 12, 6 and 2, 6, 2, 4, 3, 12, and 1. So in this case... for example, if we set 4x and 3x here, and we need to find two numbers that multiply to -2 but add to -5. So in this case, we'll see that if we have positive 1 here, we'll get positive 3x, so we need to have -2 here. So as you can see here, we have this setup. We have 1 times 3x is positive 3x, -2 times 4x is -8x, so that becomes -5x overall. 1 times -2 is -2. 4x times 3x is 12x squared, so x equals to -1/4, or x equals to 2 over 3. And that's our final answer. For these types of questions, you can also just choose to just put it into a graphics calculator. They usually don't mark you down, but if you do have the skills to factorize, and I do suggest you do factorize, but if you do wish to use the graphics calculator, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. So this is just an achieved question. So for question B, we have x plus 1 minus 3 over x equals 0. So for these questions, it's really hard to see what we can do straight away. However, we can just say, however, we see that if we multiply everything by x, we'll actually get a quadratic if we multiply everything by x. So if we multiply everything by x, we'll get x squared plus of x minus 3 equals 0. And we can already see that this is already a quadratic equation. So in this case, we can just plug into our graphics calculator, so 1, 1, and negative 3. That will give us an x values of 1.303, x equals to negative 2.303. And that's all we need to do for this question is achieve level question, and that will get you an achieved. Show that the graph of the function y equals to 2x squared minus 5x plus 6 does not cross the x-axis, so keywording here, good to take note, does not cross the x-axis. You must use algebra to support your explanation. So when the graph does not cross the x-axis, it could be, parabola could be shaped like this, parabola could be here. So when it doesn't cross the x-axis, it means that there are actually no real roots. So therefore there are no real roots. And what does this mean? This means that b squared minus 4ac must be less than 0, because this gives us imaginary roots. Alright, so we need to find, so we know b squared minus 4ac equals to 0. So we know, trying to prove that it's less than 0. So in this case, we know b equals to negative 5, a equals to 2, c equals to 6. So we just need to plug that in. So negative 5 squared is 25 minus 4 times of a, which is 2 times of 6. So that's our discriminant. And therefore our discriminant equals to 25 minus 6 times 4 times 2, which is 48. So therefore, we'll actually get negative 23. This is less than 0, so negative 23 is less than 0. Therefore, no real roots. Alright, and that's all we really need to have. So we just say that because it's less than 0, there are no real roots, and that will get you an merit grade. To get an achieved grade, you need to have a correct discriminant. So the correct discriminant here will get you an achieved. Question C, the equation 3x squared plus kx minus 12 equals 0 has two real solutions. If one of the solutions is x equals to 3, find the other solution. Alright, there's actually multiple ways you can do this, but the way I like to do this is that we have we can actually put this into factored. So we can say that x minus 3 times of 3x plus c equals to 0, because we know that already one of the solutions is x equals to 3. So if we have x minus 3, we know that one of the solutions must be x equals to 3. And if we expand this out, we'll see what our c value is, and we can find our k value. So we're going to expand this one out. So 3x squared plus cx minus 9x minus 3c equals to 0. So as you can see from this equation, we have negative 3c, which is independent of x. It doesn't have an x next to it. Therefore, we can say that negative 3c must be equal to this value here, which is negative 12. Therefore, we know that our c value must be equal to 4, and we can actually plug this one in. So 3x squared plus 4x minus 9x minus 12 equals to 0. So therefore, we know that our this equals to 3x squared minus 5x minus 12 equals to 0. Therefore, our k value equals to negative 5. Alright, so once we find our k value is equal to negative 5, we need to find the other solution. Okay, so that's finding the other solution. So we have put it back into our brackets. So we have x minus 3 and 3x minus 5. So therefore we can say that negative 5. Sorry, c value. Okay, my bad. So our c value is 4, our k value is negative 5. So we plug in c equals to 4 here. So x minus 3 times 3x minus 4 equals to 0. Therefore 3x minus 4 equals to 0. 4 equals to 3x. Therefore x equals to 4 over 3. And that is our other solution. That should be our other solution. Oh, sorry, I made another mistake. Apologize for the mistake. Okay, so we have c equals to positive 4. Okay, so I apologize. C equals to positive 4, so therefore 3x plus 4 equals to 0. 3x equals to negative 4. X equals to negative 4 over 3. Okay, apologize for the mistakes. Okay, so just be very careful. So it's really easy to mess up the sign sometimes. So when you have c equals to 4, remember that's 3x plus 4. So in this case, we have x equals to negative 4 over 3. And that should give us a merit grade if we can get the correct answer. To get an achieved grade, we need to find k equals to negative 5. That will get you an achieved. To get another achieved, we can use forms of factor. Forms of factor and using the valid way. So if you can get, so probably if you can get up to like probably c equals to 4 here, that would get you an achieved, I'd say. Alright, question D. Show that the roots of the equation x squared plus 2 times k plus 1x minus k squared plus 2k plus 5, where k is a constant, can never be equal for a real number k. So key wording here, roots can never be equal. So when roots are equal, b squared minus 4ac equals to 0. And that's when roots are equal. Basically, what this question is trying to get us to do is just trying to show us that no matter what we do, we cannot make b squared minus 4ac equals to 0. So basically, we need to find out the discriminant again. So therefore, we can say that b equals to 2k plus 2. We know that our c value equals to negative k squared minus 2k minus 5. And there a equals to 1. So b squared minus 4ac, so 2k plus 2 squared minus 4 times of a times of negative k squared minus 2k minus 5. And that's our discriminant. So we're going to expand 2k plus 2 to the power of 2. So that gives us discriminant equals to 4k squared plus 8k plus 4 minus negative 4k squared minus 8k minus 20. So in this case, we have a discriminant equals to 4k squared plus 8k plus 4 plus 4k squared plus 8k plus 20. Therefore, our discriminant equals to 8k squared. We're going to add the like terms. 8k plus 8k is plus 16k. And we have 20 plus 4, which is 24. So basically, we're trying to show that no matter what we do to this equation, we cannot make it equal to 0. Okay, so in this case, we can actually find our discriminant again. So if we find this discriminant of the discriminant, we can prove that this will never touch the x-axis. If this never touches the x-axis, that means the roots will never be equal, because b squared minus 4ac will never be equal to 0. Because this is the discriminant, so if the discriminant is not equal to 0, that means it does not touch the x-axis. So we're going to find the discriminant again, so we'll call it discriminant 1. That equals to b squared minus 4ac, so b1, a1, c1. So in this case, we'll have negative 16. Oh, sorry, not negative 16. What am I doing? Okay, so b squared, 16 squared, minus 4 times of a, which is 8 times of 24. That's our discriminant. So 16 squared is 256. So 16 squared is 256. Minus of 4 times of 8 times of 24. That will give us negative 512. This is negative, so discriminant 1 is less than 0. Therefore, discriminant never touches x-axis, hence it is never equal to 0, meaning it cannot have equal roots. And that's the final answer for this question, okay? So, that will get you in it. If you can show, so this will actually give you 2 T's. So if you can get up to this final answer with all the working shown, that can get you 2 T's. To get 1 T, we need to conclude there are no real roots of. Okay, so basically, the way they worded this essence is a bit shady, but like if you can get up to like somewhere here, and you can say, oh, there are no real roots, like somewhere there, you can get just 1 T. To get a merit grade, you need to have a simplified quadratic equal to 0. Simplified quadratic equal to 0. What do they mean? Probably somewhere simplified. So probably somewhere here will get you a merit. To get an achieved is correct discriminant substitution. Okay, so just correct discriminant substitution is just this first step here. That will get you an achieved. Alright, so thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please drop a like down below, and I hope to see you on the next one.